Donald Trump has debate advice for Governor Mitt Romney. Now, we spoke with Donald Trump earlier tonight. Donald, nice to talk to you.
Hi, Greta.
All right, Donald, I read your Twitter account all the time, as apparently you have lots of followers. And
lots.
One of your lots indeed. One of your recent tweets is, if President Obama mentions Governor Mitt Romney's tax returns in tomorrow's debate, then Governor Romney should immediately ask for President Obama's college records and applications. You really think he should do that?
Absolutely, I think he should do that. I don't know that he will. I hope he does, and maybe one of the moderators will do it. But it's a question that we should know and an answer that we should know. He is supposed to be the transparent president. He's the least transparent president in the history of this country. So many people have done it. Many people have given those records. Many presidents have given them. There'd be nothing wrong with him doing it.
All right, suppose it's the moderator. Suppose that President Obama is just fine with the number of tax returns that Governor Romney has now turned over, and he doesn't want to get into it all, but that it's the moderator, Jim Lehrer, who says it. Do you want Governor Romney to blurt out, I want to see his college records?
Well, I don't know if they're going to be just fine. And frankly, if he knew he had to do this, he would be just fine. If President Obama knew that he had to give these records and applications, I think he would never mention the word tax return again. But they've gone after Mitt Romney to a fare thee well on tax returns. And frankly, if it were me, I'd say, hey, I'll give all the returns you want. Let's see your passport records, your college records, and let's see your college applications. What a great trade. That would be one of the great trades ever.
What do you expect to see in it? I mean, if you saw mine, you'd see that I had a really rough time with anthropology and a few other courses. But what are you looking for in the president's records?
Well, the applications, I think, would be very, very revealing from 3 different colleges, and I think would be very revealing. And don't forget, when he wrote a book a number of years ago, on the cover of the book given by him, it said, born in Kenya, raised in Indonesia. So I think it would be very interesting, frankly, to say the publisher agreed with that, and then about a day later he said, oh, I'm sorry, that was a typographical error. Now, I don't think Kenya, Indonesia is a typographical error, but it would be certainly very interesting. So if I were Mitt, and if he kept harping on these tax returns, which are ridiculous because he's given so many already, and they're 100% fine, I would certainly say, I will give my tax returns. Let's see your college applications, your college records, and also your passport records. I think that would be very revealing.
All right, well, you obviously haven't given up on one particular issue, but I will move on. I'm curious, what other advice do you have for Governor Romney tomorrow night?
Well, I think he's just got to be very tough, very sharp, very smart, which he is. And I think he's really got to put a very strong foot forward because they're playing a dirty game of pool. And let's see what happens. They're being nasty. Fortunately, he doesn't say nice person anymore. He used to say nice man, that the president is such a nice man. He doesn't say that anymore because he's going through attacks that are, in many cases, very, very unfair. So I think he's got to be very, very tough, very forthright, and he has to talk about jobs and the economy. He has to talk about what China is doing to us, has to talk about what OPEC is doing to us, and gasoline prices, and other things. But those should be, and that should be, the focus.
All right, let me go to 2 other tweets that you had. One earlier today, you mentioned the Chinese. You say the Chinese are now hacking White House computers. Why not? They already own the place. That's the first one. And then the second one has to do with this solo power. It says that President Obama loves wasting our money. He just made another guarantee of $197 million to a solar company. Cronyism. Why do you say it's cronyism?
Well, it is. I mean, if you look at the people that gave, whether it's Solyndra or any of it, they're all big supporters of his. So I would say that's cronyism at the highest level. I mean, Solyndra was $500 million plus, and you're talking about tremendous cronyism. Everybody, the owner of the company, everybody that was involved with the White House, many visits to the White House, etc. As far as China, you look at what they're doing. I mean, we owe them much more than $1 trillion, and yet they take advantage of us at every single step. So you certainly could say they own the White House.
You know, it's interesting, Donald, as I listen to you and all the interviews we've done, I know that you disagree with the president politically, but what I also take away from this, even, using the terms like cronyism, is that you think he's a bad guy, that he's politically motivated, and he doesn't have, it's not that he's a different ideology than you, but that you take it one step further.
Well, I think he's somebody that is interesting, and I think it's amazing, from the way things worked out for him, and I respect that greatly. I always respect success, and I respect success in a person. And when a person is successful, I give them their due. And certainly he's become very successful. He's become the president of the United States. A lot of people question a lot of different things, and I'm just somebody, I've seen it all. Being in the real estate business in New York, you've seen things that maybe a lot of other people haven't seen. And frankly, I really believe that Mitt is going to have to be extremely tough, extremely sharp, not nice necessarily in this debate, and he's got to talk about things that a lot of people just aren't talking enough about, and that's jobs and the economy. You know, we really have probably a 21% unemployment rate, not 8.2%. It's probably 21 because the way they figure it is so ridiculous. If you're looking for a job and you give up, you're taken off the rolls, and it doesn't show up in the numbers. So our real number could be as high as 21%. Things like that have to be discussed, and very strongly during the debate.
Do you think that the 21% are likely to be President Obama or Governor Mitt Romney voters? 21% you talked about.
The amazing thing is a lot of them will be President Obama supporters, and that's, to me, just incredible. You look at the inner city as an example. The inner cities of this country are, for the most part, going to be voting for President Obama, and yet they have a 50% unemployment rate. So you explain that to me.
Well, I'll explain. I mean, one thing is I have seen neither candidate go to the inner cities. I mean, the candidates go to the few swing states, although a lot of swing states have the so-called inner cities. But I don't see either candidate talking about the inner cities at all.
Well, President Obama has done nothing for the inner city, so it's really, and the various inner cities, and there are plenty of them, and they're all in trouble. And so it's really amazing to me how, if you look at polls, how he's getting most of those votes.
All right, what's going to have more viewers, The Apprentice or the debate?
Well, the debates are going to be amazing. In fact, I'm going to Europe tomorrow, and I really postponed it until around 12 o'clock in the evening because I really want to see this debate. This debate is going to have, and by the way, The Apprentice, as you know, has been a real juggernaut. It's been amazing. But this debate is going to have tremendous viewership. People have been waiting for this for a long time. And, you know, it's a very close election, but Mitt will really have to step up like he did in Florida. He did an amazing job. He went to Florida. He was under the gun. He was really in trouble, and he stepped up, and which showed to me he can handle pressure very well. He stepped up and won both debates and then won Florida. That was the best political week, in my opinion, of his life so far. Hopefully this will be a great political week. I think this debate is going to be very, very important, by the way, for both parties.
Donald, thank you very much, and safe travels to Europe.
Thank you very much, Greta.